What is up, sports fans? My name is Jake Iggy, Jake Iggy, or Iggy for short, and this is Iggy's Sports Talk.
So I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in to episode 47 of Iggy's Sports Talk. And today I have a very special guest. He is a social media coordinator for Major League Baseball, Tyler Fiedler. So how you doing?
Good, man, having me on. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So I bet you're excited as anybody to have baseball back. But I want to start off on a subject of looking back on 2020 a little bit, just to start off, because especially for yourself, working for Major League Baseball, it must have been a very weird and strange time for you, especially when you got the news that, teams and players were going to have to be sent back after spring training literally just started last year.
It was a challenging year. It was difficult for all of us. I mean, baseball, especially the season getting delayed. We had to adjust on it and just keep adjusting, keep coming up with stuff, keep coming up with content, and just hoping and praying that the season was going to come back. Luckily, we did. We completed it. And so all in all, it turned out all right for the circumstances that were happening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to a full slate of game. Ready's got me hyped up. Like I'm ready to rock.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat, but I mean, it's especially like during the time when it was like the MLB and Major League Baseball were going back and forth with really trying to agree on the season. At least for myself, I was waiting on a potential internship opportunity, and they were sort of saying, well, once Major League Baseball makes the decision, then we can offer you the internship. And because it took so long, that made me not be able to get the internship. So I was watching the news. I was looking at that news, eyes peeled, waiting and hoping. I'm like, why are they not agreeing yet? So how difficult was it for you, somebody who works for Major League Baseball, thinking, when am I going to be able to like go back?
Yeah, I mean, we were just in the as much as in the dark as like anybody else.
Makes sense.
No one were going to agree. No one knew when we could get a season, if we were ever going to go back into the office. And still to this day, it's been almost a year to get back into the office 2 times during the postseason, where it was like a limited number of us. So it's been hard, but we've been able to have a 60-game season, now a full season. Hopefully, fingers crossed that we can get up here.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we get a full season this year, and the 60 games, like it was good, like it was nice. I enjoyed it. But in terms of like the evaluation of players and teams as well, I found it very interesting when like analysts would be like, "Well, this guy didn't do well in 2020." I'm like, "All right, listen, we're gonna have to put an asterisk on all those statistics. Like the Dodgers actually did win the World Series, but everything else, give me a break."
Exactly. Yes. I felt like Dodgers winning solid because they were going into that season, they were the best team in baseball.
Right.
If say a surprise, the Blue Jays surprisingly won the whole thing last year, it might have been a little invalid based on okay, short season, they got hot.
Mm-hmm.
All kind of just right. It was the right thing for our sport.
Yeah, especially with what happened with the Marlins as well. That is one team I was very excited about because, I mean, it's crazy.
Yep.
Just looking back 3 years ago, I bet you remember it very well when Jeter was trading all these guys away, Yelich, Stanton, and Ozuna, another one. And everybody's like, what is he doing? And then, you see the amount of guys that got tested positive, and then they were able to bring all these guys from the alternate team and still get wins. And when they made the playoffs, I don't know about you, I was super excited, but very happy for the organization just in general.
I mean, I'm a Derek Jeter guy, so I'm a quasi Marlins fan. They're my second team. If the Yankees can't, I'm rooting for the Marlins. So I was on their train all last season. It was fun to watch, despite all the positive cases that seen San staff. They could be a force to be reckoned with coming down the line here.
Oh, 100%, especially with their farm system as well. And you brought up Sixto Sanchez. I think he's going to be a very a very key person for that team coming up throughout the season. But I mean, it goes with the
Mm-hmm.
whole evaluation, like I said, of like the teams and players, because there's some people who are like casual baseball fans and they're like, oh, we're going to see the Marlins in the playoffs this season. I don't know about that. They'll probably be an 81 team.
Right.
But it was just awesome to see that organization, especially with the new jerseys and everything. Like I said, I was so happy for them. But I mean, you said that you were a big Derek Jeter
And
guy. So what was your reaction when he trades Stanton to the
of course,
Yankees?
I mean, I saw both sides of it. They had to get out of that contract, and he was helping his old organization
Exactly.
out. What can you do? But it was. I'm a big stan. I must know the insult him back a bit, but I'm looking forward to a full healthy season of him. I think this year he could put up monster numbers if he does.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, as a Red Sox fan, I looked at that trade. I'm like, Jeter, you kidding me? Starling Castro for Stanton.
Yeah,
I forget what other guys the Marlins got, but I'm like, you kidding me right now?
low A minor league guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing. But I'm like, yeah, like you said, just helping out your old squad.
So,
There you go. But that goes into another good topic of looking at the AL East rankings, because you brought up sort of how the Blue Jays really did some good stuff throughout this past offseason. The Rays they're always in it. And I think it's ironic how just because they
always.
traded Blake Snell, analysts and people around the league are like, yeah, we're probably going to see the Rays be a really disappointing team. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that. But, my rankings right now are the Yankees number 1, Rays number 2, Blue Jays number 3, and then Red Sox number 4. But as unbiasedly as possible, I think that the Red Sox have an okay chance of maybe getting third, close.
Yeah, I think they could surprise some people too. Additions were under the ring. They created a lot of depth and some good depth. With Kike Hernandez, he could play all over the field. Mauro Gonzalez, but pitching staff staying healthy and getting good seasons from Evaldi and Martin Perez. Hopefully Sale comes back at some point, can fortify the rotation a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But Erod's a stud. He's an ace type pitcher. So if he can stay healthy, another COVID, they can surprise some people.
I completely agree with you. And one of the under the radar moves that they literally made just last week, I don't know if you saw this, Danny Santana. I mean, the guy hit 28 home runs in 2019 and they signed him to a minor league deal. I mean, he had Tommy John surgery last year, but I saw that deal and I'm like, that's a Chaim Bloom pickup right there. Very under the radar that nobody really is mentioning.
Exactly that. No, that's tough. I mean, I also love Verdugo. That dude can play baseball, man.
I love that.
They got him in the Betts deal, obviously, but last year and now they're kind of field range. It's his outfield. Him, Bogarts, and Devers can form and if JD comes back hitting the ball again, that's at the top of the order.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm on the same exact boat. I'm obviously nervous about the pitching staff, how that's going to fully be able to perform. But I remember when Ottavino trade happened, I texted you immediately. I'm like, I got to get your thoughts because I see the notification. I'm like, Yankees? We traded with the Yankees? I don't know if you saw.
No way.
I don't know if you saw what Carabas said. They're like, or I think it was Steve Perrault. He's like, are we friends with benefits with the Yankees? And Chaim Bloom's like, I can't comment on that.
I mean, that's a good way if the Yankees wanted a salary, get some relief help, and I just know that Ottavino's going to come in and shut down the Yankees at some point this season.
Right.
So where the Yankees need a win or the Red Sox need a win, and Ottavino's gonna be a factor one way or the other.
Oh yeah, 100%. The one thing that I'm nervous about, at least for the Yankees, I bet it's something that you hear. I mean, it seems like for the past 5 to 8 years, this has been an issue for the team, is the rotation. I mean, it's always been the Achilles heel. They do their best to build it up, and I remember J.A. Happ, James Paxton. They just never fully pan out. But looking at the rotation right now, you got Talion, you got Cole, got Montgomery, you got Devi Garcia potentially. The one guy that makes me a little bit nervous, which I bet you're a little bit nervous, but also excited to see as well, is Kluber. I have no clue how he's going to come back after a right shoulder tear. You know what I mean?
I mean, does really anybody, but
Right.
he's a veteran guy. You just think that he'll figure it out. I mean, he looked really, really good, but that's only 2 innings, 1-2 innings, whatever it was. But yeah, he's the X factor, really, man. If he can get back to anything close to him and Cole at the top of that, with the upside of Tyone and Garcia and Herman, like that could be a really scary rotation September and the postseason.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that they're definitely
and we coming back in June or July too, after him missing a couple of years. So if you add him to that rotation, but let it come down to health.
That's always the key for the Yankees. I mean, even as a Sox fan 2 years ago, I'm like, listen, this team just broke the record for the most guys injured. I mean, I got to look at it as a baseball fan than as a Red Sox fan. Like, I feel bad for this team. I mean, the Red Sox had it bad last year with Sale and Erod, but I mean, not as bad as the Yankees did. They should have won the World Series 2 years ago.
I mean, you could say that, but it didn't happen. Injuries are a part of the game.
Right.
Maybe Cashman's way of building this roster get injured often, not the right way, but how can you blame them when they're winning 100 games every single year?
Right. Exactly.
So they just need one stroke in where they're fully healthy. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to beat them.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. Another team that I want to talk to you about on if they can contend or not is a team like the Chicago Cubs, where 4 years ago we were looking at this team as a potential dynasty. And it's crazy to see sort of how it's all unfolded and how we could see majority of these guys potentially on other squads in the next year or two. So, you look at Baez, free agent at the end of the season, same with Bryant, and then you got Contreras and Rizzo, free agents in 2022. So first of all, do you see them trading Chris Bryant somewhere down the line, at least maybe in the trade deadline or something like that?
I thought it was going to happen this offseason, to be honest with you.
Me too.
There's every week that he was going to get traded, but I don't know. Going back to like the whole contending, I think they can contend. NL Central is that tough of a division. Yeah, the Cardinals got Arenado, but are they ever that much?
Right.
The Brewers, you expect bounce back season from Yelich to put them back in the conversation, but the Cubs are right there. I mean, they Bryant, Rizzo, Contreras, all bouncing back this year. They're all too talented, too good to have seasons like they did last year. Ian Happ has Jock Peterson looks great this spring, so their offense should be back. Their pitching staff trading Darvish, it is what it is. It's not a great move for them, but it happened. And then getting Arrieta back is an innings eater, but they can NL Central,
right?
Because I don't think there's a club that is above the others.
I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah, what I was thinking is that their rotation was their only thing that made me nervous. I mean, just with Hendricks, Arrieta. I mean, Arrieta hasn't been the same as that guy since he left Chicago. Zach Davies, Alec Mills, and then Trevor Williams, who he was good with the Pirates like 2 years ago, but like last year he had like an over 5 ERA. So it's going to be kind of similar to like the Red Sox rotation, where you're taking guys who you're hoping bounce back.
Off the scrap heap, yeah.
Right.
They have Alzolay they can rely on. Alex Mills, he did throw a no-hitter last year, so who knows if you give him what he can do. But I just think that NL Central is so wide open that the Cubs offense, if they're all clicking and they're all playing to their back of their base, that they can.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. You brought up the Darvish trade, and that made me think of a question, especially for somebody that works in like the MLB office and especially like around tons of people that are huge MLB
Hmm.
fans. What was the reaction, especially from you and just all your colleagues when, you saw the Padres getting Snell, Darvish, and then especially when they got Musgrove? I looked at the notification. I'm like, they got another guy? Are you kidding me right now?
But again, yeah. Yeah, honestly, a lot of excitement. I mean, the Padres showed us last year that they're one of the most successful.
Mm-hmm.
Junior, probably the most electrifying guy we have in our sport, like him and Juan Soto,
Right.
Acuna, build the games. Um, Padres, they're coming for it. Now we love to see teams going for it like that.
Mm-hmm.
This offseason, a lot of salary, good guys for nothing. So seeing the Padres go all in and to make sure and to compete with the Dodgers, we're going to be some dramatic moments and great baseball.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And that kind of goes into the next topic that I want to talk about on which team do you think is going to be the biggest disappointment? And for me, it's the team that is
Mm-hmm.
being left out of the NL sort of
I question a
conversation.
little
Say what
bit,
you're gonna say?
but I think I got to go with the Cleveland Indians.
Makes sense.
Trading Lindor and Carrasco is going to hurt them. I don't think they have enough offense to compete because I think the White Sox are a really, really good team.
Mm-hmm.
The Twins, Indians, and you know what? The Royals might surprise some people this year. The Benintendi trade, I think, is a good one for them. They got some arms.
Right.
I just don't see the Indians competing with the top two of that division.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. My pick was the Braves, just because people look at that team so much
Okay.
as like the third tier in the NL, and I get it. I completely get it. But what did they do other than signing Charlie Morton and Azuna back? And I just looked at their rotation, and it's something that where with the Braves, like they have so many prospects. And it's like Danny Ainge with the Celtics.
Yeah.
You're just like stockpiling all this value, but you don't want to trade any of it. And I don't understand why they don't make a package for Bryant or a top starter. We've been hearing about this since Bumgarner was on the trade deadline. Just frustrates me.
Arenado would you package a couple of those arms,
Right.
send him to Colorado, get Arenado back, him at third base in the middle of the
Ridiculous.
lineup with Freeman and Albies. I mean, Zuna and whatever. But I do like their pitching. I mean, Soroka is really good.
Right.
Ian Anderson was great in the post if he makes this. Morton's obviously a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he holds up, but he's great. Their bullpen's good. I think they're going to be really. A lot of people do think there's going to be some regression there, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, the only thing that made me nervous that when I was looking at their pitching was just I agree. Soroka was ridiculous last year, but just the Achilles injury. I just remember at least when guys are coming back from basketball and especially baseball as well too. It's tough and especially for a pitcher. And then just Drew Smiley and Kyle Wright at the bottom of the rotation. Like Kyle Wright was he was the number one pick like 4 years ago. And he had like an 8
Yeah.
ERA like 2 years ago, and then he had like a 5 ERA like last year. So who knows? I could be wrong. He could be the Cy Young this next year, but that's the only thing that made me nervous.
I mean, the Mets will definitely be better too, which will affect the Braves in a way.
Right.
So, can the Phillies? Oh, the Nationals should be better.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a tough division. Like I could see them coming in third or fourth, based on just the division good again.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And you brought up the Mets. They're actually the one team I'm most excited to watch because I mean they were in the news like it seemed like every single week, just making really really smart moves, like really
Yeah.
smart moves.
Yeah. I mean, getting Lindor and Carrasco, like for anybody else, that's a good offseason right there. Just
Mm-hmm.
getting those two guys accomplish what you needed to do, but then getting James McCann and Trevor May to solidify the bullpen and a couple other guys like Cohen did what he did. He spent money, got
Right.
good guys. They're going to be a force. especially getting Stroman back. Vasco's okay. I think sore elbow or sore arm. DeGrom's the best pitcher in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to be really, really good.
Have you seen their bench? Like their bench depth is ridiculous. It's Kevin Pillar, Almora, Villar, and then Jose Martinez. Yeah. I mean, those guys coming off the bench, like what?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of veteran guys. That's what you need,
Exactly.
Right? You meant some of these younger players. I'm really, really good offseason. Probably the best, one of, or if not the best, outside of probably that we've seen.
Yeah, the Blue Jays were the only other team that I thought had close to as good of a offseason. But with the Mets, I mean, even like the late addition of Taijuan Walker, all I thought about is when Syndergaard comes back, that rotation is going to be ridiculous. It could might as well as compete close with the Padres and the Dodgers.
Out, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. The only thing that I think is the pitching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Springer's a great addition. So is Simeon, but they just didn't address their pitching staff enough in my. But yeah, the Mets.
Right.
Walker to be a 4 or 5 starter is great for them. I mean, DeGrom, Stroman, Carrasco, Walker, really, really good.
That's what I was thinking as well. And you just brought up the Blue Jays as a strong team that could definitely compete in the AL, and that brings me to the last topic of who do you think who do you think can compete with the Yankees in the AL? My picks are the Blue Jays, White Sox, and the Twins.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Athletics too. You can't underestimate what they've done. I know they lost Simeon, Hendricks, but they brought in and Elvis Andrews. Matt Chapman seems healthy. Matt Olson's great. They're there as well, you know. If you get from Jesus Luzardo and maybe AJ Puck can be a difference maker this year, I think their rotation will be good. Team I'm looking at for sure. 1 through 5 in that rotation is going to be tough, and that lineup wants the best in baseball. League is the closest to competing with the Yankees, them and the Blue Jays, I would say, lineup wise. So their bullpen got Hendricks signing. That team is scary good, and obviously you don't hire Tony La Russa unless you're going to go win a World Series. So they're a team I'm keeping my eye on them for sure.
100%. Yeah. The Athletics in the Rays, like they always seem like they're always in it. They're always in it. And
one and the same. Yeah,
exactly.
They're one and the same.
The only thing with the White Sox was I thought that they kind of needed to go a little bit more of what the Mets did and just add like 1 or 2 veteran guys. But I liked what they did with Adam Eaton. I think Adam Eaton was a perfect pickup for them and a very underrated pickup because, I mean, he can be a guy. I mean, he won a World Series with the Nationals just 2 years ago. So when this team, or if this team gets to the ALCS, like all the young guys are going to be like, all right, what's going on? What do I do? And Eaton's going to be like, all right, follow me. So it's good that they have at least that guy.
Presence. And same with he's won a World Series. He's been in contention before. So having World Series pedigree on your team is important. I think those guys definitely provide it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm so excited for this season to start. I think that this is an interesting season to where it's similar kind of like to how the NFL is becoming is that it's very competitive. There's not like too many teams that are in the middle or in the rebuilding process. Like every team can kind of go for it and kind of make things interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty. There's a lot of teams going divisions that are going to be close. Multiple teams in pretty much every division that can compete for the crown. So forward to it. I know there's going to be all. Yeah, I mean it's just going to be a fun year, man. I can't wait.
Me, the last question that I have: if it isn't Dodgers and Padres, who's in the World Series? Or Dodgers and Padres, Dodgers and Yankees,
so
or
Dodgers, no Padres.
No,
okay.
I meant to say Dodgers and Yankees.
All right, no Dodgers, Yankees. I'll go Padres.
Who was the AL team you said?
Two young teams on the cusp of winning. The White Sox.
Padres and oh god, that would be awesome. That would be really cool. You would get to see Tatis with the swagger, and then you get Luis Robert coming in with Eloy Jimenez. Oh boy,
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Tim Anderson and his trash talking too.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Well, Tyler, I really appreciate you taking the time today to talk some baseball, and shout out your Twitter or Instagram or where the people can find you.
Yeah, thanks man for having Tyler _ on Twitter and TJ Fiedler 24 on Instagram. Thank you for having me on, man. You're doing great things. Keep up the good work, and you can do this.
Really appreciate you, my man. Yeah, definitely. Let's do this again.